Hi and welcome again. In our last episode, we spoke about trauma, and we said that trauma can happen in two ways. The right thing that was supposed to happen not happening, and the wrong thing that was not supposed to happen happening. And you find that we have so many people who walk around with unresolved traumatic incidents having been bottled up because they do not even know that in the first place they carry this trauma. And I want to briefly share about how unresolved trauma looks like. And unresolved trauma can look like something like resisting positive change. You find yourself constantly resisting positive change when everybody around you is trying to challenge you to work towards becoming a better version of yourself. Watch out, you may be traumatized. Being overly agreeable in everything, you do not ask questions. They ask you to jump, you don't ask how high. You may be carrying some trauma. You may be operating from the syndrome of pleasing people because at the back of your mind you're telling yourself, if I stay on their side, they will not attack me. And especially if you suffer attacks coming from your childhood, being overly agreeable may be a trauma response that you may be using. Another indication that you may be having unhealed trauma is when you crave for what we call external validation. You are constantly seeking for approval and validation from people. Yeah, you're a young person, you are spending money you don't have to buy things you do not need to impress people you don't even like. It's important what others say about you. It's simply because maybe you're trying too hard to belong. Because maybe because of the trauma wounds that you carry, you feel like you are isolated. Another indication that you could be processing or dealing with unhealed trauma is fear of being abandoned. You are scared of being alone, and you're constantly finding yourselves in relationships and situationships that you're not even probably ready and prepared for. Inability to tolerate conflict. You are actually scared of conflict. You exercise avoidance as your trauma response, and an innate sense of shame. If these are traits that describe the person you are, my brother, my sister, you may be carrying deep-rooted trauma issues. And as I said in our previous episode, human beings are wired for connection. Human brains are wired for connection, but trauma rewires them for protection. Trauma makes you build a wall around yourself. Trauma makes you become incapable of being vulnerable, and therefore it's going to be very difficult to have fulfilling relationships, whether romantic or friendships out there. If you carry deep traumatic wounds, it becomes difficult for you to be able to connect because trauma rewires you for protection. You're constantly in self-defense, trying to defend yourself. So watch out. As we continue to say, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to remain not okay. Seek help, seek support, because it can be available. Thank you so much.